Wow, what an episode of Survivor 42 that was. Another excellent episode. This season has been great. And the cast has been delivering on almost every front. There's a lot of people that are there to play. It seems they're all there to play pretty much. And it's been really exciting as a result. A lot of people on the internet are talking about how this is pretty much like one of the biggest episodes in terms of skyrocketing someone's chances from like not like an outside chance of winning to like the far likely winner in one episode. It's like the biggest turnaround in terms of like having impact on their win equity. One of the biggest ones we've ever seen, where Marianne had like an outside chance but didn't have much of a stake in it. Like she didn't have much to her name, kind of thing. But then this move that she did single-handedly, pretty much, because everyone else who participated in the vote, except for Romeo, I guess, which obviously makes it a non-factor. Everyone else had a different plan in mind. So Marianne gets entire credit for this vote, and not only that, but she is safe in the next vote. So it's not even like the same thing can happen to her, where she's the next likely front runner who gets taken out. So she's a guaranteed Final Four fire making at the very least. So the worst case scenario is she gets taken out in fire making. But every other scenario, she gets to the end. Whether she wins immunity, not likely. But whether she gets taken to the end, which is a likely possibility, or she wins in fire making, which we don't know anyone's chances at winning fire making, that could very well be a possibility as well. So her odds are really good at making it to the end. And then now her case against other people is going to be so much higher because she took out Omar in that moment. The only thing I don't like about this kind of trend, even though it was an excellent episode and it's been fun these last couple episodes, but it's this trend of like people don't seem to value as much the long-term game anymore. Like in the final jury vote, at least, it's like people aren't taking into account the whole span of the game and how much agency they had throughout and that kind of thing. It's almost like they really overvalue the last couple steps of the game so highly. So the fact that Marianne, she played a solid game, but had much less agency than some other people, than like maybe a Mike. To be seen now as she's the front runner just because she made this one move. I don't know if I like that trend necessarily, where it's like all it takes is you taking out the biggest threat, and now you are the biggest threat. I just wish we would value more the entire span of someone's gameplay, because I think Mike has had a really solid game that people kind of forget. He was kind of like manipulated by Omar at points in there, where he was kind of playing the puppet for him, even though he was saying that Hai called him his puppet. And Mike, I don't know, like gives himself too much credit for some moves, thinking they're like his moves that were made and things like that, which could come back to bite him. If he were in the final tribal, he might not fully own or have full self-awareness in that way. But if you look back even to pre-merge, he's had solid relationships and a solid social game since the pre-merge. He's been so well insulated that he was never really in danger that much, even when I thought he would be. And even with his idol, I thought he would be in much more danger than he ultimately was. So that impresses me. Jonathan, obviously people have kind of ruled out Jonathan, even though from a casual perspective it's hard to see really why, because he beats his way. And I still think he deserves a lot more credit than people are giving him, where the fact that it's kind of crazy that he made it to the final 5 being the challenge beast. That's something to be admired. And he has gotten himself into solid alliances and whatnot. It's not like he's been on the outside of every vote and just hanging on by challenge wins. It's not like that at all. Lindsay's been solid as well, but I don't see her winning now. I don't think the storyline would be very satisfying, and I wouldn't be into it personally. And even Romeo, we can talk about Romeo and the fact that he had a solid pre-merge too. Like I thought going into the merge, I thought Romeo could be a real contender here, and he was looking really good. But it's just surprising how quickly and abruptly his win equity went all the way down to the bottom, which is unfortunate. But now the only thing that'll be interesting to see play out, I can't see Marianne not making it to the end. That would be just unlikely at this point. And so I think it's almost like Marianne's gonna win at this point, but I don't know. I realize I'm not talking about much about the episode at this point, but it's the day of the finale now, so that's what I'm thinking about. But this episode was great. Where also credit to Mike. Yeah, everybody's forgetting about this, and I even just forgot about it. That like this is Marianne's move and everything. Marianne's getting all the credit for it, but this was brought up by Mike. Mike was the one who planted the seed initially that Omar needs to be taken out. He knew from the jump on this episode that he was like, he needs to plant the seed with Marianne. Omar needs to be taken out for him to go on and have a chance at it. But it was almost like Mike had too much knowledge. The fact that he knew Lindsay had this idol, and that's what clouded his judgment to make him not want to vote out Omar in the spot, because he thought for sure that Lindsay would play her idol, which is not a bad assumption to make. And in that case, if that were to happen, then Mike would be proven right, and Marianne's hero moment would have been ruined. And I think both him and Jonathan were voting pretty rationally in voting Romeo, in the case that if Omar was safe, they would have been screwed otherwise. But it just so happened that this move worked out perfectly, where Marianne got Romeo, and then her extra vote gave her that 3-2 vote split that gave her the edge and got her the full accountability, full credit for taking out Omar, which is obviously what's skyrocketed her chances now. It's also fun, just the idea that Lindsay won this immunity against Jonathan. They all faced off in immunity, and it came down to those two again. Lindsay won the immunity against Jonathan, and they still couldn't take him out. It was like you would think that would be their final showdown, but nope, he's still in there because it was an interesting vote. And I thought even the idea to vote out Romeo from Jonathan and Mike was interesting as well. Like, play it safe in that way. Though obviously Marianne knew what it took for her to like have the move that could potentially win her the game, you know? Because even if Jonathan and Mike's reasoning might have been sound, for her it made more sense to even risk it. Like, worst case scenario, Jonathan goes home. Best case scenario, she takes out Omar single-handedly and now has a great chance at winning. Whereas if she just played it safe and voted Romeo, she's sitting there third or fourth in line maybe to win. So, well played. I think we're seeing some good self-awareness from Jonathan too, where he knows that both Omar and Lindsay need to go for him to win. But now the question is, after this move, and after Omar even turned to Marianne and was like, "You did this?" and she was like, "Yeah." Do they all see that now Marianne is the front runner, or are they going to overlook her? You know, it'll be kind of like an Erica situation where Xander didn't see that she was going to be a problem for him in the end, and that's what gets him. Could be the case here. Who knows? But again, there's not too much they can do about it other than like taking her out in fire themselves or something along those lines. Yeah. I'm excited to see it play out though. Tonight, the finale, and I'll come back and talk about it afterwards, alright? If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit all the links in the description for our social media and to leave any feedback for us. And as always, check out our review of Metroid Dread if you're into that sort of thing. It's a Nintendo Switch game. Alright, we do reviews and discussions on movies, television, and gaming, as well as Survivor every week. We're going through Guatemala, so we got a lot going on here, guys. Check it out. Alright, take care.